Who are we being brought to you by?
Really? A promo?
Pays the bills.
You say it.
We're brought to you by thebestcarprice.com. some car. There's a company out there that's paying us, and what the hell's their name?
Oh goodness!
Thebestcarprice.com.
No, I'm gonna have to coach you up a little.
Yeah.
Find the best car price.
God damn it! I never remember.
.com/insider. Link in the description. We'll talk more about Jeff and his website in just a couple minutes. We'll hop into the video first.
What's it again?
Findthebestcarprice.com/insider. Link down below. You're funny as hell, man. All right.
Okay.
What we're talking about today, Dan,
Yes.
is you were going to give us some stories. So as everyone knows, or
Yeah.
if you haven't watched any of our videos in the past, my dad spent 43 years in the car business, ranging all the way from salesperson to general manager, everything on the sales side. And during that time, you experienced a lot of different, I'll say, experiences, because I think they range the gamut of what could occur, even beyond what you would imagine could occur at a car dealership.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to talk about today, and I asked you to think about a little bit, were 3 stories from test drives. They didn't necessarily need to be test drives that you were on, or at least test drives that your salespeople were on, that over that 43-year career stood out to you. Because I haven't heard you share these stories yet, so I'm interested to hear, and I think those that are watching,
I might give you more than 3, because as I was sitting here, I was thinking, well, who's the most famous person I've ever done a test drive with?
Why don't we start there, and then you can get into your other ones.
The most famous person I ever did a test drive with was when I was at Admiral Nissan in Pleasantville, New Jersey, which is right outside of Atlantic City. And this was in the 80s, during the casino boom of Atlantic City. And one of our customers was a gentleman by the name of, God, I hope he doesn't get mad at me for saying this, by the name of Ken Wynn, and his brother Steve Wynn owned, I think it was called the Golden Nugget at first. And Ken was a customer of ours, and one day Steve wanders in, and he says, I'd really like to take a Maxima for a test drive. Well, shit, I'm the general manager, I got nothing to do. Come on, Steve, let's go for a ride. And we go for a ride. And I said, well, why are you looking at cars? She says, well, I'm thinking about rewarding all my management employees, floor people, pit bosses like that, giving them a budget so they can go and buy a car and the business will pay for it.
Wow.
I thought, well, that's really nice. I'm going to be super nice to you, Steve. But I remember during the test drive, I said to Steve, I said, just out of curiosity, who do you admire most in the casino business? And he said, the Perlman brothers. I think their names were Stuart and Clifford Perlman. And they owned Caesar's Palace at that time. I said, well, why is that? He said, well, we work very hard with our casino hosts to find gamblers that have a lot of money, that we can establish high lines of credit with. Yeah. And, we might find some wealthy people from New York, and they have a $100,000 line of credit, and we bring them down to the casino, and they lose $10,000, and they call it a night. Yeah. He says, and the Perlmans, he said, they have tapped in to the Asian market, the Far East. And he said, they bring in gamblers with $1 million lines of credit. And he said, God bless them, those folks don't get up from the table until, well, they've lost the entire $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah. He said, so we have to figure out how to attract that type of customer as opposed to the customers.
And this is all happening, transpiring on a test drive of a Nissan Maxima.
Yes.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, which I just thought, that to me was one of my more interesting test drives.
No, that really is.
Because he was probably the most famous person I ever took for a test
probably
drive.
The wealthiest person you've ever had in the car as well.
Well, I wasn't counting his money at the time.
Of course not, but I mean...
Now, here's the sad part. He did do the promotion for his staff, but he decided it would be best served if he only did it with them buying American cars. So
You didn't even get deals out of it.
we did not, other than his brother Ken kept buying cars from us.
All right, that was super interesting. Okay,
Yes.
all right. So how about we hop into some of these other stories that I know you were thinking about in advance?
Okay. I'm reminded of a time where a gentleman came in and wanted to go for a test drive, and our salesperson took him for a test drive.
When,
And
where?
This was these stories. This story has to do with Admiral Lisa
Okay.
in Pleasantville.
Man, that
So-
was a lot of deep thinking.
Well, because I got 3 stories here, and I have to remember.
you got 43 years.
And I got 43 years of them. I'm thinking about. So the customer says to the salesperson as
Yeah.
they're driving, he says, "Do you mind if I stop at the 7-Eleven for a minute?"
Yeah.
And she said, "No, I don't mind at all." She said, "Actually, I'll wait in the car for you." And he goes into the 7-Eleven, and he comes out. He's kind of a little rushed, a little hurried, and jumps in the car, and he gets in the car, and he starts it, and he puts it in reverse, and then she sees like the clerk running out of the 7-Eleven, and well, what had happened is he had just robbed the 7-Eleven.
That is so incredibly stupid.
And, well, most crooks, most criminals are not don't register in the high end of the.
You remember that YouTube channel I showed you? That guy who was like a former bank robber? I think his name's like Larry Lawson. I'll see if I can link it in the description. That guy's smart. This guy, not as smart.
This one was not as smart, obviously, he got caught. He did, but he thought he would use the test drive as a way to get away from the scene of the crime.
And the sales associate was a woman.
Yes.
And was she okay?
Yeah, she was okay. Yeah,
She got a hell of a story.
and she was not an accessory to the fact. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And okay, so the next story.
Yeah.
The next story, and this one took place at Minnie of Baltimore County.
So this would have been relatively recently, like within the past 10 years.
This was a few years ago when the new Mini Roadster convertible came out.
Yeah.
And it had rained that morning, and where we were in Owings Mills, there were these twisty, windy roads that we used to take our customers on because. The selling point of a Mini is they're fun to drive and they really, really, really handle well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this customer goes out with one of my salespeople, and like I said, it had just rained a little bit that morning. It was a little damp out there, and Tom was taking the customer on the normal test drive where it's a little twisty and a little turny, but you can build up some speed, and then you have to brake real hard, and you have to make kind of like a quick left, and so all I could think of is, well, Minis handle really, really well until they don't. Okay, and they don't when you're going much too fast, and your salesperson says you need to slow down because there's a hard left coming here.
Yeah.
And the guy didn't quite get it in time. He did hit the brakes, but what really stopped the car was the tree stump that they hit.
Wow.
And then the Roadster flipped over.
Wow.
Onto its roof.
Did they have the convertible top open?
No, thank God. Onto its roof, and we got a phone call at the dealership that said, "My God, there's been an accident with a Mini on, I forget what road it was." So
Yeah.
I went over there with one of my other salespeople, and well, they had the whole road blocked off. So we had to park like a quarter of a mile away and run down there. And it's scary as hell when you get there and you find your salesperson strapped to a stretcher on his back in the middle of the street. Okay, and the customer is on another stretcher, and the car is like, I don't know, just completely totaled. But the beauty of it was, if there's beauty in a story like this, is that even though it was a convertible, the way the convertible roof was designed, there was support inside the roof, and so even though it was a cloth roof, it had a metal insert, and the roof never collapsed when it turned over.
Wow.
Yeah, and my salesperson was
nuts.
my salesperson was back to work like 2 days later, and the customer never showed his face in the dealership again, and surreptitiously sent his daughter to pick up the trade that was there, the car that he drove up in that was there, and she kind of drove it away. And, we kind of contacted his insurance company, and well, they paid for our
Yeah.
Roadster.
Yeah.
That was the first Roadster we sold. It was just
Just
to
to
an
the
insurance
insurance
company
company.
instead of a retail buyer.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
before you get into your third story,
Okay, you think I have one?
I've got a pop quiz for you.
Okay,
What's
pop
our
quiz.
sponsor's name?
Knowyourprice.com. Get a price.
Enterprise hurts.
Hurts. It could be anything. I
Could
don't
be
know.
anything.
Yeah.
All right.
what
Well,
is it?
we got to do our due diligence
Yeah.
here. Findthebestcarprice.com.
I don't know why that's so hard. I can't seem to find thebestcarprice.com in my mind. Find the
bestcarprice.com.
bestcarprice.com/insider.
/insider, yeah. So if you're interested, what they do over there doesn't compete with what we do in any way, shape, or form. They aggregate deals, lease deals, finance deals, manufacturer incentives, things like that. And so if you go over there, you fill out, give them some information, they'll be able to help you contact multiple dealers to try and work them against one another to get the best car price possible.
Yeah, they help you find the best car price. Now, I don't know why that's so hard for me.
All right, third story. Let's get it, though.
Okay. Okay, this one took place at Acura North Scottsdale.
So this would have been, what, 2005? Just a guess.
5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 8 before they dumped me. And so this luckily for me, this was not one of our cars, but we had a Mercedes-Benz dealership directly across the street.
Yeah, you worked at this, and I remember because
we had a huge campus.
Yeah, and the reason I remember it so distinctly is because before you moved into that building, which was beautiful, you worked in this other building that was kind of dingy. It was nice, but it wasn't that nice. And then you moved to this campus that was like incredible. They had in the Porsche dealership there, they had race cars and stuff. And I remember the Land Rover dealership had like an off-road course.
Yeah,
this is a very, very, very well-respected, really nice.
Yes, it's called the Scottsdale 101 Auto Collection.
Yeah, it's not like when you're driving down the highway and you pass like 3 dealerships in a row. This was like they spent.
There's 10 or 11. It was a $125 million project.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s.
All right, so we set the table. It's very nice.
So across the street from our dealership was a Mercedes-Benz dealership, and I'm out appraising a car.
Yeah.
And I had a certain route that I would always take, and it was around the complex.
When you were doing the test drive of the car that you're appraising.
Yes,
okay.
And it was around the outside of the complex, the side streets. So I remember going down this one street, and I look ahead and I see like this cloud of dust.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm thinking, my God, that's odd because there's a hard left down there, and I'm thinking, well, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And as I'm getting closer in the customer's car that I'm appraising, I see like a salesman in a suit and a tie and all covered with desert dust staggering
that's so
out
sad.
of a ditch. Okay. And I looked at him, I said, "Are you okay?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "I think I'm okay." He says, "But I'm not too sure about the people in the front." I go, "What the hell happened?" He said, "Well, I kept trying to, it's an older couple, and I kept trying to tell him, it's a hard left here, you're going to have to," and he just wasn't paying any attention, and he flew off the road into a ditch. Okay, so that was the dust that I saw, was the ditch.
Oh, my goodness.
And I had friends that worked at that dealership, because literally it was right across the street from where we were. And it turned out that the old folks, the guy that was driving, just wasn't paying attention. But he paid enough attention that he knew that he was never buying a car at that Mercedes-Benz dealership. They crashed one, they destroyed one, but they never bought one there. So so there's a lot of strange things that can happen when you go for test drives. You can be involved in a theft.
That's so dumb. I can't get over that.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. You can
don't
get involved in actions.
Oh, don't do that.
When a salesperson says to you, "Oh, this car really hauls," or
I've always hated that when I've taken test drives.
Don't do it. drive the car as you would normally drive it. I know when I used to go to driving events for when our new cars would come out, and they put us on these tracks. You got to drive real fast. I go, why do I have to do that? I don't drive like that in life.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't need to know what the limits of these cars are because I'm never going to tell our customers to push it to those limits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it used to annoy the hell out of them. But you don't want your salespeople telling the customers, oh, you really need to nail it around this corner, because if they have an accident, you know who gets sued? The dealership, because the salesperson said, you really need to nail it going around this corner. So as salespeople, we would teach our salespeople, never tell anybody the speed, never tell anybody to check out how fast the car goes or what the accelerator, none of that nonsense, none of that. So those are my tales of woe. I don't know if it meant anything, but it felt good to me to share the stories. It did. And you know what I just remembered?
No, we've already said it enough times. Save it for the next video.